Enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to the new rebranded Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the queen of the indies, Tiffany, and I'm so excited because with all the rebrand, and here we go, the first guest off of the rebrand is my good friend TJ Epixx. What is up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited that you finally got to come on here. So how are you?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. So it's fun.
I love it. I love it. Guys, if you're new here to the Under Rope series, here I interview everything independent wrestling, wrestlers, promoters, referees, behind the scenes, everything independent wrestling. I got you covered. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And if you have questions for TJ, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. So we're going to jump on in here like I like to do with every interview. But I want to talk about you getting into professional wrestling. I want to talk about your training with HC Lock and at the Flower City Fighting Arts Wrestling Academy. Tell us a little bit all about that.
So I got into wrestling about 2 years ago. I kind of fell into it by mistake, I guess. It actually turned out I was always a huge fan of wrestling and I always wanted to do it, but I had no idea how to get into it, especially where I live. There's no wrestling really within my area. So what ended up happening was I was actually volunteering at the VFW one day, and after I got done, I went to the bar, sat down, had a beer, and I was watching a wrestling video on my phone, and someone came up to me like, hey, there's a guy around here that does that, right? And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, sure, probably like some backyard guys or something. And he was like, no, he's like, he wrestled for Ring of Honor, ECW. And I was like, really? Wait, from this area? And I looked him up, and it was HC Loke, and he lived actually 15 minutes away from me. And I messaged him on Facebook, and he let me know that he was beginning to train people at his own place. And from there, I just kind of kept the grind going, and I've been training with him ever since.
Oh wow. Who's been like some of the people that like inspired you to get into like wrestling?
People that inspired me to get into wrestling. I mean, growing up I was a huge like Jeff Hardy fan, and like Undertaker is my favorite, but what kind of really got me into it is like when I discovered Ring of Honor and stuff online, and when I was seeing it, I was just like, these guys are about my size, and I've always been like an athletic person, that like I played college football, college lacrosse, and I always felt like I could do this kind of thing if I ever got the chance. And my original goal was to try to find a way into wrestling and at least have 3 matches. And I kind of killed that goal already now because I'm a little past 3 matches.
Yeah, that you definitely are. So you know what? Let's do this, because I always like the perspective of the wrestler, because clearly I know you, so I could sit here and I could talk about matches that you've been in. But I always like your perspective for like a fan that, like a new fan that wants to learn about you. What is the go-to match that they should turn on after this interview, obviously, but to check you out?
Oh man, you kind of put me on the spot right now. Well, recently I had a one-on-one match with my trainer HC Loke, and that was actually a really fun match, and I would recommend anybody watch it. It was actually at World of Hurt Wrestling, and that was actually my first time going against him, so that's actually kind of a special match for me just by that. Mm-hmm. If you want to see me do more of my crazier stuff, I mean, you can watch my match that I just had at Xcite. I was in a 6-man scramble, and I mean, everybody in that match is just so talented, and I felt like I had to bring myself up to compete and make myself shine in that whole environment. So that one, it was at Xcite's last show. It's still live on their Twitch, I think. So just go on Twitch and you can look up Xcite Wrestling, and it should pop up right in there. Yeah. And I mean, another fun match I had, it's when I first started, but I always think about it now and then because it was with one of my best friends, and that was with my friend Adon. Mm-hmm. We did 3 matches, and the third match we just kind of we threw everything out there, and it was just a whole lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, those would probably be the ones I recommend people to watch if you want to get to know me.
Great matches. Like, how is that? Is that like very stressful also, like, to work your trainer? I feel like I never actually asked anybody this, because I always hear from people like, oh, you know, like their bucket list is to work their trainer, and, you know, but I never really got into detail with anybody. Like, how is that? Like,
so I was nervous, but at the same time I was really comfortable, because my trainer and I, we spend almost every single day together, because I actually help him with our shoot job and stuff too now and then. So I'm always around him, and it was just kind of more of an extension of that, where we kind of just were able to get in the ring, feel things out, and it felt natural. But at the same time, I was just like, oh, geez, I'm wrestling my trainer right now who taught me everything. I really don't want to mess this up right now.
Yeah. And like, how was it even like after? So you have this match, and then like you go in the back, and like, so like, how was it? Like, you got that approval? Like, did you like, I don't know.
I got that. I got approval from him. He was ribbing me for a spot in the match, because he wanted me to dodge something, and I ended up jumping over him, and he was giving me a lot of crap about that, in a loving way.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, yeah, I learned a little bit from that too.
Yeah.
But other than that, he loved everything. It was just one of those things that he had to bust my balls for.
So maybe, like, again, like later down in the future, you think like after so much time.
Never doing it again. Yeah.
No, you're not doing it again.
The mistake I made, I'm never gonna do it again. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, you're not gonna wrestle him again? Like.
Oh, I'd love to wrestle him any day of the week. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. So this is like the perfect spot, since you brought up Xcite. Now you're the new Xcite International Champion. We see that beautiful championship.
Yep, right
Look
here.
at that. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
People to see.
Look at that. So, you know, LSG comes out. You know, he's got to give you the title. You know, like, I was watching this live, and then he attacked you. And then, of course, I'm on Twitter, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, come on, LSG. What is going on? You know, so what is going on now? Like, what are your thoughts about this?
That kind of caught me off guard, actually, because, like, honestly, I thought he was going to be happy for me. I mean, I get that it sucks that he was injured and he had to relinquish the title and stuff, but, like, that's not anyone's fault. It's just things that happen. But I always looked up to him, and I was always excited watching his matches whenever I got to see him at Xcite. And honestly, I thought it was an awesome moment, and then it kind of got cut short. And I know it has nothing to do with me personally, but at the same time, it shows me that he doesn't respect me as a wrestler. And now my main goal is to change that perspective.
So now what's going to happen? Like, is this going to be something in the future? Like, is this
Honestly, I definitely want this in the future. I obviously have to hold on to this title until he is 110% ready, because I don't want anyone to make any excuses. I don't want him to make any excuses for when I go against him. For when I beat him, it's going to be straight up, I beat him because I deserve this championship. Right. And I don't want anyone to doubt that whatsoever.
Yeah. But, so we'll see that in the future, you know. I'm
excited
for that. I need to get my butt up there. Like, there's so many promotions. I talk about this on the podcast all the time. There's so many bucket lists. I'll get up there one of these days so I can see it. But, I mean, Xcite's kind of a home for you. So, I mean, you've had amazing matches. You've had matches with Dan Barry and Alan. Like, tell us a little deeper, like, what this company means to you.
This company means a whole lot to me. It was actually one of the first companies that gave me a platform to perform. I think I was 3 months into training when they gave me a chance, and it's like my closest home promotion. Every time I can do a show, I'm always there, and it just means the world to me that they have this much faith in me, and I've tried to give them as much as they've given me this entire time.
no, definitely cool. And again, I will get my butt up there. I have so many places I
Pl-
want to go, so I'm gonna come.
Please
I'll
do,
be
please
cheering.
do.
I'll be cheering for you, and that's what's gonna happen. So I want to talk about this because it's funny. Anybody that knows me, there's just certain things in wrestling, and I'm sure like a lot of fans do the same thing. There's certain moves, and even like certain things with certain wrestlers that you talk about, like just spots that you flip out about. Now, me. I'm obsessed. And I know Cody's going to laugh at me. I'm obsessed with bridges. April will laugh at me too. Anybody, again, that knows me. I'm so obsessed, and it has to be the perfect bridge. It's not a perfect bridge. And I know you and me talked about this before. It's not a perfect bridge if you're not putting your damn toes up. All right? So it's so gorgeous. And like now I feel like everybody's starting to do it now, and I've had wrestlers purposely doing it for me and screaming for me during their matches. That's the funny thing. But it's really, really a true story. But like, how hard like is that to do like your bridge onto your toes? Like
It depends. I mean, sometimes it's easy just because how the momentum takes me, and I'm like, oh, I'm already here. And then other times it's like I have to bring a lot more strength in my legs right now to maintain this and not let it collapse.
yeah.
So it can be difficult, but I always try to get the toes going because I know that's what makes it pretty.
Yeah. I'm obsessed. I'm just like, just certain things that it's funny because it's like, I spotted that. I was like, toes. So now, even I was this weekend with April, and then she was like, toes are happening, like during just shows of wrestlers doing it. So that's like the new hype right now. Good Cop, Bad Cop, what's up? He goes, hey Tiffany, hey TJ, 10 minutes behind, but listening at X2. So we'll be live with you soon, and no hashtag bad cop. You cannot do that anagram question. I expect a question from you, Good Cop, Bad Cop. You come and you ask all my wrestlers that come on this podcast some anagram questions. I'm a little disappointed this week. So, all right, let's talk NFW. So obviously it's one of my favorite places, and it's one of your favorite places, but I want to talk about your match with Austin Luke. Insane. I went back recently because I know I tagged you. You know, and I rewatched the match. I was there. So, these H2O kids, they're no joke. Everybody knows I love my H2O boys, But tell us a little bit about the experience. Tell us about the H2O building for you. Tell us about, your match with Austin. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so when I met Austin, I was actually, really happy because me and him had, a very similar mindset and just how wrestling should be, working snug and making this look real and stuff. And I was really happy to do that. I definitely want to run it back with him because that match was fun and I had a good time in it, but I know I can do even better, especially now that I have been down there and I got to work with him a little bit already. I feel like we can do a lot more crazier stuff now.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. Just going to NFW and being at H2O that time, that was a big honor for me because I was only ever there one other time. Mm-hmm. And the time before that, I actually was me starting out and I was a ref for HC Loke's match. And that didn't go too well for me that time because I ended up getting speared by Bam Sullivan. Oh. And so I was really happy to be able to actually perform as a wrestler this time and not get speared by Bam Sullivan this time.
We love Bam Sullivan here too. He's been on the Under the Rope series. Definitely go check out that interview. You did the same with Austin Luke. That's the nice thing. Is I love when you guys come on and you talk names, and most of them have already been on the pod, which is great for me. But it's really, really cool. Austin Luke's a little beast. I would love a rematch, Cody. just saying. I'll go back about NFW, but let me give some love to my chat over here. Michael in the chat says, hey, TJ, would you ever join NXT?
Oh, definitely. If I ever had the opportunity, I mean, it would be crazy not to say no to those opportunities. So if I ever had the chance, I would definitely be happy to do that.
Yeah. Chad says, what's up, Tiffany and TJ? How is everyone doing this evening? I'm great. Thank you.
I'm doing pretty good too. So
Awesome. All right, so back to NFW. So this Friday, I mean, you're in a scramble match. And it's crazy because, we're talking H2O kids. All right. You have Marcus Matters and Dylan McKay's been there too. We also have Christian Robinson, Ryan Gosselin, and then we have a mystery challenger. So, how hard is this, that you've never faced people before? And then also the fact that you don't know who the mystery partner is going to be. So how do you prepare yourself for a match like this?
Oh, man. Honestly, a match like this, I mean, scramble matches are always crazy. I've actually been lucky enough that the last couple of weeks I've actually been in quite a few scramble matches. So I can really do to prepare for it is always just keep my head on a swivel and try to look out for all the action that's coming, because as soon as you hit one thing, someone's ready to take your head off right away. So I think the main key is being aware of my surroundings, keeping my head on a swivel, and just being ready to kick someone's face off.
Scramble matches are a lot. I love them. They're one of my favorite kind of matches to watch. And it's great because I feel like a lot of people always show out and there's always like a lot of flippy shit. So I love flippy shit. I love flippy shit. So
I tend to do flippy shit. So
yes. Oh, there we go. Good cop, bad cop. I see you. He goes, #good cop. Wants to know, would Epixx beat an anagram of Pi XX? If you had to eat 20 pies and they had to be the same, what type of pie would you choose?
I guess apple pie. I mean, that's my go-to one right there. So, not the question I was expecting to have on this, but yeah.
We like to have fun here. So
I see that.
We like to have fun here. So, and Good Cop, Bad Cop is very good. He does it with everybody on this podcast. That he does the anagrams, which is fun because you never know what comes out of a story. So. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to Atlantic City. You and I got a chance to hang out, which a couple of weeks ago. It was a big weekend. We had a lot of shows running. We had Hybrid, we had JCW, we had GCW. It was insanity. So you got a taste. This was your first time, right, in Atlantic City and experiencing GCW weekend, pretty much. And the fans. It's very different. It's very... the fans are very loyal.
It's a different monster for sure. Like, I was honestly the whole time I'm just kind of like starstruck on like how the fans were and just the energy of all those shows. Like, there was no dead crowd whatsoever, and that's actually like that whole weekend was like one of the reasons why I'm really trying to get down to that area, just because it looks like it's a whole lot of fun, and just the talent down there is amazing. I'd love to be able to go against almost anybody that's down there right now.
Has there been anybody that's like caught your eye from that weekend? Because there was a lot.
There definitely was a lot. I mean, I saw a bunch of the H2O guys down there. That was like it. I remember I saw a scramble match, and like I think it was Dylan. I think did a shooting star and then took a super kick in the middle of it. Like, when I saw that, I was just like, that looked nasty. And also, I definitely wanted to be a part of this. So, I'm kind of dumb like that. When I see violence, I'm just like, oh, that looks like it would be a fun time for me to join.
I love the whole JCW vibe. It's great. I mean, I love everything about it. It was a very interesting experience. But it's so good. So, with that being said, it was same thing, Nick Gage versus John Moxley. All right, and GCW, and the nice thing is, like, what I tell a lot of people with GCW, if they're not a fan, there's different spurts, pretty much, right? Like, so even with me, I was not really a fan of deathmatch wrestling at first. It took me a while. It's an acquired taste, as I always tell everybody. But GCW isn't always just death matches, so you can go in there, and Brett loves his scramble matches, and there's a bunch of matches doesn't need to be death matches. But we got like ultimate death match with Mox and Gage. Like, so it was a lot.
It definitely was a lot. And I was actually like surprised because I knew GCW did a lot of deathmatch stuff, but I think that whole weekend, I think the main deathmatch thing was just Mox and Gage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it was, and they went all out when they did it. I mean, I was just trying to help out, and I was helping bring wrestlers to the ring and stuff when I was there, and they had us kind of stay on the outside just to keep people back and stuff. And I kind of realized how violent it was when all of a sudden my hand was bleeding a lot by itself, because I guess some glass caught me when they went through the outside. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, this is the real deal right here.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happened, I was just like, wow, this is dangerous, and it looks like fun, and I definitely want to see more of this.
Yeah. Good Cop, Bad Cop saying, he goes, this match looks insanely good. So he's talking, we're going back to the NFW. So make sure you follow NFW on YouTube. I know things are happening later, but it's not on IWTV. It's definitely on the YouTube channel, but it's not going to be live. So you're going to have to follow the NFW page on Twitter to find all the updates when that show is going to be up. But would you ever do a death match, or it scares the shit out of you now?
Oh, man, you're kind of putting me on the spot right here. Well, I know what my girlfriend wants me to say, and that's no. But honestly, if it was the right opponent and right price behind it, I could see myself going down that road if it ever was the right reasons to do it. Like, I don't want to do it just to do it, just for the clout of it. Like, I'd rather have a real story and reason behind doing something like that.
Yeah. April's in chat. She says, TJ bled. He's officially hardcore. She's cracking up.
Okay, not really how I wanted to break in hardcore-wise, I guess. But
Hey,
oh, man.
Listen, we're hardcore. Like, when you're sitting front row, okay, like you said, you're protecting. Like, when I go to these GCW shows, I want front row. I'm going to pay the money for it. It's worth it. But you got to be careful. I'm always throwing my arm up, to protect my face, because light tubes and glass and all that stuff goes shooting. And me and April both got cut at one of the shows because light tubes go flying and glass goes flying.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to be careful. Deathmatch wrestling has definitely become bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, you have that loyal fan base. So we never know. Maybe we'll see you. Maybe one day. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Let me get some of these fan tweets that were sent in for you. So Grade A Cat Daddy says, where do you aspire to be in wrestling in 5 years, 10 years? And who is your favorite teammate on your high school wrestling team?
Oh, man. So 10 years, 5 years, I mean, obviously I would hopefully want to be signed somewhere, but my main goal in wrestling is to just make a living out of this. I want to be able to pay all my bills with just wrestling and be able to travel to any show that I can get to. Like, that's my main goal just overall in wrestling right there. And then my favorite teammate from high school, I guess. I mean, it would probably have to be one of my best friends just growing up. He played every sport with me almost, and I've known him since like 6th grade, and that was probably either my friend Kyle Zaradka or my other friend Elijah Case, who I've also known forever. So those guys, I only wrestled a couple seasons with them, but they've always been there with me. So I'd have to say that, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully it was the person who tweeted it out that is the one that you've said in your names, but
I didn't hear them. Wait, what was the name of them again?
It was Grade A Cat Daddy.
I gotta look this up later now.
Okay.
I'm gonna get in trouble by somebody.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. No. Good Cop,
fine.
Bad Cop says he subscribes to the NFW page, so he's all about that. And then he's telling me that I need to take a riot shield to the events to protect yourself from the broken glass. Pretty much. So, all right. So next fan tweet is from GUI. He says, hardest part about training where you are. And then we'll go into his next question.
Hardest part about training where I am. So for a while, because where I was, the hardest part was I was far away from everything. So my head trainer, HC Loke, we went to a place that was about an hour away from here when I first started. And he told me day one to go everywhere I can to train because he can teach me some things, but then there's other people that can teach me other things. So I took that to heart, and I was going to Binghamton, Rochester, all over the place just to get some training. And I've kind of lucked out now where HC Locust started his own school in this area. So that kind of lucked out. So it's a little easier traveling now, but training-wise, I'm actually able to get more training in and have the time to go to the gym and eat healthier and everything now that I'm not traveling 2 to 4 hours every weeknight trying to get a little bit of ring time.
Yeah. Awesome. His next question is top 3 indies that you want to be at in the future.
Top 3 indies. Oh, man. I mean, definitely want to go and get into JCW, GCW. I mean, just going to the Atlantic City weekend was enough reason for me to want to try to get there. I do want to try to get over to OVW and stuff like that. I have a few friends that have been going there, and that's a fun time. They've told me, and I guess those are kind of like my main goals right now, going out and branching out to other places right now.
His last question is favorite way to deal with hecklers. It says, thank you, keep killing it.
Favorite way to deal with hecklers is probably just going with it. I mean, I have a shirt that I made that I actually sold that said jobberific on it because someone called me a jobber, and I just responded by saying I'm jobberific. And so I made a t-shirt and I made money on it. So I usually just lean to the curve when it comes to hecklers. It's my main way of doing it, I guess.
Oh, damn. So now I have to start heckling you now at the shows, right?
Well, great. I come up with a whole bunch of t-shirt ideas now. T-shirts are expensive to make, you know.
I'm going to start shit now. So, I mean, I have a thing that I keep calling people food. So I feel like that will happen with you eventually. So it'd be pretty funny. So I want to talk about this because, you know, there's so much negativity out on social media. Recently, and you guys could check it pinned on the Indie Wrestling Corner's Twitter account, that I did a whole Wrestling with Positivity. I had a whole bunch of wrestlers and fans and parents, and they all contributed, and they talked about all the good things in wrestling and stories that we don't see behind the scenes. I see a lot because I'm a lot backstage and I'm friends with a lot of different people. So with that being said, you put a tweet out the other day, and like it kind of go like, you know, I got in my feels, but you said, last night I had a really fun match, but what really made my night was a little girl that wore my hat and said, I feel like a real wrestler right now. Those are the real moments that mean the world to me. So I want to talk about this because I don't think enough people put out there all the positive and something like this, that the little girl was so happy to wear her hat and like it made you feel good. So
yeah, honestly, like I said in the tweet, those are the moments that mean the world to me. I mean, yeah, being in the ring and being in front of a crowd is an adrenaline that no one can reach unless they're just doing that. But those moments outside the ring when you have a little girl running up to you asking you to sign their belt and then they get really excited, like that, like it makes me think about back when I was a kid. Like I didn't have an opportunity to see a lot of wrestlers as a kid, but when the very few times I did, I remember I was just in awe for weeks on end, and it kind of felt cool to, like, I'm obviously not doing it on the level of some of those guys, but at the same time, I feel like I get a little bit of that moment where I get to influence a little kid, and if they see me, maybe it influences them to follow their dream and do wrestling or whatever it is they set their mind to.
Yeah, that's so nice. I wish more people would put stories out like that. Like, it's just really sweet, you know, like you never know. And you never know, like you made that little girl's day too, you know, so these are the moments that we should all be like focusing on with, you know, with positivity in the world. So So I want to talk a little about this too because I thought this was really cool. So I get like really excited because I think we've had a couple of wrestlers that do their own gear, but you make gear. You're a graphic designer. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, how did that, drawing graphics, how did that turn into making gear?
Well, to help clarify, I don't make the gear itself.
Right.
I just design the gear.
Right.
I tried making the gear. I'm very bad at sewing. Keep stabbing my finger. It's really bad. But just designing gear. It started out as just having fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually made some just fun like horror movie themed gear for a couple of my friends, and then what actually got me into taking it seriously and taking more time and effort in it was during, I think, the summer of COVID. I was exposed to COVID and I got put in quarantine, and I obviously couldn't work for 2 weeks, and I had rent coming up. So to make up for it, it was just like, okay, well, I'm going to start charging for this, but out better quality content of gear design and get people what they want and get a little more creative when they want me to come up with something for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I started it. My background in it was I actually went to college for graphic design, and I always just had fun with art growing up, and having that experience and being able to apply it to something in wrestling and help just the boys out with coming up with gear. Like when I do it for cheap. My only downfall is when I get busy, I can take a little bit to do it. I'll admit that one right now.
Right. So how cool is that to see like your design on somebody?
It's really cool. Like every time I send it to someone and they tell me they got a gear maker making it already, I'm like, okay, well, I have to be the first person that you send it to because I want to see how this turns out, because I can draw it up as perfect as I can, but there's nothing like being able to see my drawing come to life.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of cool where you get to be part of the influence of building someone else's character. Yeah. Which I feel like it's easier for me to help others out with themselves than I can help myself out, because when it comes to making stuff for myself, I overthink everything.
Yeah, no, I get it. But that's just cool. It's just like I said, I've had some people like actually make their own gear, and I didn't know that, and I just thought it was like a cool extra that it's like them, just
that's actually what my jackets are. I actually spray paint all my jackets, and like all the artwork on my jackets is just me freelancing, having fun with it. There is one jacket, my first jacket was my favorite one, and it's somewhere out in the New York City area because I left it there by accident.
Aww.
So if anyone sees a gold and black TJ Epixx jacket out there, would really appreciate it if you could bring it back.
Oh man, how many graphics have you done that you've seen in gear?
Seen in gear. I think it's less than 10 right now. Just because I've only been doing this for 2 years wrestling wise. I think I've been designing gear for about a year. So a lot of it is people just wait for the gear to be made because gear can take a little while. Yeah. But I think I've seen somewhere between 5 to 10 of my designs made already, including my own, which is an awesome feeling. Like all my gear that I've had, I've personally designed and I've just sent to gear makers.
That's awesome. I gotta get a gear maker on this podcast. That'd be really interesting to talk about.
Let me know if you can find them. I'm always looking for more gear makers.
Yeah, guys, like if anything, leave them in the comments or like get at me on social media, because I would love to learn a little bit about that, and they're so important. And I see it all the time on social media that people are always looking for gear makers. So I definitely would love to sit and chat with somebody about that. So, do you have any pre-match rituals?
Pre-match rituals. Usually it's just me kind of thinking about the match, going over in my head, get kind of like push-ups and stuff going, just get the blood flowing, and depending on how much time I have before the match, I'll get my music going just to try to hype me up a little bit more.
Okay. So you drive, you guys drive like crazy. I love asking to give us one of your best road trip stories, because I'm sure there's always one, especially when you do those long drives. Like, is there anything that like sticks out to you that's like a fun that you would love to share with us?
Oh man.
It better be about something with like Cody and like smashing wood pie or something.
Well, now that you mentioned Cody, I remember actually driving back from Atlantic City. We were going up to Buffalo for ESW, but we had to pick up Alec Price, and Alec told us that he was like close to the city where we were picking him up, and we were kind of getting nervous because of like how much time, and we know traffic can be bad. And then all of a sudden, the GPS took us just to the middle of Times Square, and we were like freaking out because it's like I think it was like 4 or 5 a.m. in the middle of New York City. And we're like, okay, traffic's about to hit any second now, and we got to get out of here before it hits. And I remember on the way after picking them up, another group of wrestlers' car broke down, so we had to turn around and try to pick them up. And then when we went to pick them up, they weren't there anymore. They decided to try to just truck along on a back road without texting us first. So I remember it was just a whole bunch of loop-de-loops going around. And I mean, when it came to just driving and figuring stuff out, that was just a fun time. It was chaotic, but fun.
Yeah, I live in New York City, and like, I don't even like driving in it. Like, so I feel
that was my first time visiting Times Square, so that was a fun experience.
Oh, he kind of told me this story, but but yeah, that's great. So what's some things you like to do when you're not in the squared circle?
If I have time to do anything, usually if I'm not working, I'm not training, I'm either trying to go to the gym to work out, or usually it's me designing gear, being on my iPad and just kind of come up with logos and stuff, or playing video games. That's kind of the most energy I have to put towards anything else besides wrestling. Because
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, what?
No, I was gonna be like, what's your favorite game of choice? Like, what's the go-to game? But I cut you off. Sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't even know where that thought was going, but game of choice. I mean, a lot of people are gonna judge me on this one, but my favorite game to play, and it's my go-to when I get bored of any other game, is Fortnite.
Yes,
I've been playing it.
We're gonna play. We're gonna play. We gotta play.
Oh, definitely. Add me after this.
Yes.
So I played it since like season 1. I think I got it on the day it dropped, and I remember I got it because I wanted to play PUBG, but it was on PlayStation yet, so I just got that one to practice, and then that just became my main game I ever played. So I know a lot of people are gonna judge me right now, but
no, I don't judge you.
I have fun, guys.
It's all good. Like, it's some serious business. I feel like a lot of people went on Fortnite, especially during the pandemic, and then I got a lot better because of the pandemic, because I was spending so much time on Fortnite. So I'm really good with the sniper. It's just so you know. But this could be where your judge moment is. Are you an Xbox guy? Or are you a PlayStation guy?
I'm a PlayStation guy.
All right, cool.
That's my go-to.
Because I know, like, sometimes that people like to ask that in this chat, like, especially when you start talking video games, because that always gets brought up.
Yeah, I've always been a PlayStation guy. I think the only Xbox I had was Xbox 360, and I ended up giving that to my brother real quick, and I stuck on my PlayStation 3. So
it's great. Okay, so I like to ask this for like also people that aren't aware of you. What is your finisher, and why did you choose that?
Man. So my finisher is kind of changing always, just because I'm still trying to find the right exclamation point that just keeps guys down. For a while, it was a double springboard curb stomp, but I started having issues with some ropes and stuff like that where it was kind of out of my control. So I ended up adopting the running knee, what that Daniel Bryan does, just because I was able to start hitting that really well. So that's my go-to finisher right now, as well as hitting the shooting star.
Awesome. I love the shooting star press. I mark out for shooting star press. There's another thing. That's why I love Dylan McKay. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's insanity with that. So I could see, I want a singles match with you guys. Like,
it'd definitely be fun.
Oh.
I mean, I'm excited to break out the shooting star because it's been a while since I did it.
Oh, man.
Well, because I transitioned to boots a while ago, and I remember I tried doing the shooting star with boots, and Turns out my feet were a lot heavier than I expected, and I landed all on my face.
Oh, no.
So I
Ouch.
kind of stopped doing it for a while, but I actually just started practicing it again, and I'm feeling a lot more confident in
Yes. It's gonna
hitting it. So we're A-okay with the shooting star now.
that battle of the shooting star press. I'm gonna lose my mind. Like that was really what caught me about Dylan McKay was his shooting star press off. Like
He can
this
hit it well. Like, I'm
insane
surprised.
play.
Like, I was surprised when I saw the first one.
Oh well, he's a skater boy. That's why. So it makes a lot of sense. So what was I gonna say? Blah 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 blah. What's the best piece of advice that was ever given to you?
Best piece of advice was ever given to me. It was probably, honestly, it was probably from Cade. I wrestled him one time, and right after the match, he told me I had it like I was good at this, to keep grinding at it, and he kind of gave me the heads up, like, wrestling is so beautiful but so ugly at the same time, because you'll hit your highest of highs and you're going to hit your lowest of lows. The main thing you have to do is when you hit either point to keep your focus ahead and just keep trucking through. And it was kind of weird because when he told me that, I did hit my highest of highs and I did hit my lowest of lows kind of back to back, and I just kind of kept thinking about that, and that to just keep on trucking ahead, like no matter how bad you think it gets, to just keep going. Yeah. And I kind of get preserved and got through, and I mean, I was able to win that. I was able to get opportunities at other places, and I just can't be more thankful for everything that's kind of fallen into place because I just kept trucking through.
Great. So with that being said, I mean, I have one last question for you, and then if anybody else in the chat, just drop them in the chat if you have any other questions. But so we're going to reverse it. We're going to put it on to you. And I always like ending my questions off like this because we have a lot of fans that whether they want to get into wrestling or they started wrestling. I've been following one of our subscribers. Like she just started training a couple of weeks ago. So it's fun, the little videos that she's been posting. But she's always looking for that advice. Like what's a piece of advice that you would give somebody that's amateur or inspiring to get into wrestling?
My bit of advice would be, again, probably what I was told was just kind of keep trucking through. I mean, you're going to feel sore all the time when you start out. You're going to feel like you're not progressing, but then it's all going to come together. It's all going to start clicking. I mean, I'm still green. I feel like I'm still not in a position to give much advice to others, but I try to help out when I can. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the main thing is just keep pushing through. Like, even when you doubt yourself, you have to just tell that voice in your head to shut up and be like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it no matter what. And I'm going to do everything in my power to achieve this goal. And it's just little goals at a time. Like I said before, when I first started, I had a goal to do 3 matches. As soon as I hit that, I was like, okay, well, I want to do this for 2 years. And halfway through that goal, I was like, I want to make a career out of this. And I had a goal of winning the championship. I had a goal of putting on awesome matches with other people. I have a list of people that I want to go against. So I would say keep driving through, keep looking ahead, but keep setting that goal that's going to be right in front of you. And as soon as you hit it, on to the next thing. Like, always keep yearning for more, because it's going to keep you hungry and keep you going strong.
That's great advice. That's so awesome. So let's talk about what you got coming up. Got a bunch of shows. Again, we talked NFW over here with your scramble match. That's this Friday. I know tickets are still available. I'm really excited. Any thoughts of who that mystery person's going to be?
Oh, man, I have no idea. I heard Cody say something about 90s dancing, and I've been wrapping my head around that. And honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to prepare for the worst and make sure that I can handle whatever's thrown at me in this match.
Okay. And then what else we got coming up? I know you sent me some stuff. I saw like MLW, like Oh no, like MLW, what's his name's gonna be there, and then like we got a bunch of stars at the Xcite Wrestling, like the
Oh,
Fight
okay,
Club.
yeah. I was like, oh, wait, I'm going
Like
to
so, like
MLW, I
I
didn't know
just flip
that.
it over, like MLW, like sorry, Xcite Wrestling. We got a bunch of people again. You got MLW, and then AEW got you know, it's just nuts. December
Yeah,
4th.
got Ethan Page, got Davey Richards, got a bunch of guys. I see that Bill Collier and Sean Carr and Jay Freddy are all on that poster too. So it's going to be a pretty big show. And honestly, I can't wait for it. It's going to be, I don't know my matches yet, but I know it's going to be my first title defense. So I'm really excited to do that. And it's going to be the first step to proving that this belongs right here.
Man, that's so great. And then Boys in the Ring is on Fight. What's the date of this? November 20th. So this weekend too. So like you're all over the place.
Yeah. I'm in New Jersey on Friday, going to be in Ohio on Saturday, and then back to Binghamton on Sunday. So I'm going all over the place. Yeah, this is actually exciting because this is going to be mine and my tag partners' first time really venturing out from our home companies. And we've kind of started clicking pretty well together lately, and I'm really excited to just show the rest of these areas what we can do.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see your journey. So I'll be there. I'll see you Friday. I'll be backstage, get some interviews. You guys will definitely see it on the Indie Talks episodes that I create. So definitely check that out. So tell everybody where they could find you, buy your merch, all that fun stuff.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same handle. It's at TJ_Epixx. That's TJ_EPIXX. That's 2 X's because I think X's are cool. I don't care what anyone else says. That's my whole logo. So, and then you can buy my merch. You can buy this T-shirt as well as my new one that just dropped today on Pro Wrestling Tees/TJ Epixx. And yeah.
Cool. All those links are in the description below. Go support TJ. So, with that being said, TJ, I can't thank you enough for coming, hanging out with us, and chatting and getting to know you a little bit better. Again, looking forward to your journey. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
I expect some shooting star presses and some toes.
Oh man.
I just put the bar, like I'm putting the bar up. I swear to God, if you give me toes, I'm gonna start screaming toes now. Like that's gonna be my thing now. Like
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says toes now. That's what it's gonna be now.
That's gonna be so. I probably people are thinking like a weirdo that I like feet. No, I just love the bridge because it's so perfect. Like that freaking bend that it gives that little umph with the toes going up. That's really what it is. I mean, look at Yuta. Yuta's got like the perfect bridge, right? Like Yuta like has one of the perfect bridges. So that's why like I love the toes. But if you put toes, people probably obsessed with feet will probably buy the shirt.
You know what? Whatever sells the T-shirts.
I want 5% of your shirt, damn it.
I'm gonna have a really weird pro wrestling tease after this.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This Thursday, I have Gabby Ortiz coming on. She's going to talk about NFW and Stan Styles Intergender Bonanza this weekend. So definitely tune in for that. But other than that, guys, thank you again. Stay safe and support independent wrestling. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
Hey, guys. Thank you.